Welcome back. We are having fun. I guess we shouldn't say that. With
We always have fun. Why shouldn't we say that?
Brain Trauma Awareness Week.
Well, yeah, we're having fun giving you awareness. We're not having fun with brain trauma. We don't want people to
we
think-
are not banging each other's heads.
No.
Right? I mean, you see that in the movies all the time. You see it with the
There's only one thing that would
Worldwide
cause me to
Wrestling
bang
and
somebody's head, and that's if you hurt my child. Probably.
mixed martial artists and traumatic brain injuries from football, from soccer, from riding a horse. And you know what I know, and then you drive on the freeway. It's a wonder, really, that anybody gets home.
Oh, don't get me started. Oh my gosh. It is the most frustrating. Now that I have to drive to Los Angeles so much, we have our Encino clinic, and I'm up there all the time with Chloe. Oh my gosh. What is the matter with people? There must be so many bad brains on the freeway. It's crazy. It is just crazy. It's craziness. I need to carry cards and just fling them out the window. Like, it's so frustrating. I suppose it's better than other hand gestures you could give. So.
Well, and if your sister fell asleep at the wheel and rolled the car at 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour, you're more likely to react when people do stupid things.
Oh, so you're blaming it now on my car? Oh, I see. Okay.
Then not to react because, all of us, when we get cut off on the highway, we should do a whole lesson on road rage. I've seen so many people who've had road rage. And, in my mind, I get the thought in my head, you bastard. Sorry for swearing. But I get that thought, you bastard. And then I leave it alone. Because they're seriously crazy people.
I had someone actually
there.
get out of his car and pound on my window, and I didn't actually do anything that time. There are plenty of times that I have. That time I didn't. That guy was actually just crazy.
So just to my point.
That scared me so bad.
So if you just look at the brain injury statistics, it's estimated from the CDC, 2 million people every year in the United States have a brand new brain injury, traumatic brain injury. That means over the last 40 years, there's 80 million people around. Now, yes, concentrated more in LA. There's 80 million people who have traumatic brain injury. And what do you think the prison population, the incidence of traumatic brain injury? It's very high according to a number of studies. So from prison to homelessness to bankruptcy to people who struggle with ADD, anxiety, depression, suicide. It is rampant in our society. And because psychiatrists never look at the brain, they really don't appreciate it is. But in this podcast, I want to talk about the Irlen Syndrome. Mm-hmm. And when I first learned about it in 1994 at an international adult ADD conference, I thought it was nonsense, right?
And so do a lot of people still.
Well, they're misinformed.
They're uneducated.
So let's inform them. This was developed by a school psychologist, Helen Irlen, who is from Long Beach. And she found that many kids who were struggling with reading, with focus, with anxiety and depression actually had a visual processing problem.
See, I don't see why that is so hard to understand. Visual processing problems lead to issues, right?
Well, and if 30% of your brain is dedicated to vision and you're not processing things properly, you're not going to feel right. And let me just tell you a story. There is a woman who had the holy trinity of Amen clinics. She came to us with ADD, anxiety, and depression. And she saw one of the doctors here who diagnosed her with Irlen Syndrome. That when she read, the letters would move on the page. That's one of the symptoms. Or what she'd read, if she ever read on white glossy paper, she'd get headaches. She'd have blurred vision. She had depth perception issues. She was not good at sports, and she hated sports. But when she was young, she was good at music. When the doctor diagnosed her, we actually sent her over to Long Beach and got screened. And my sister was there at the time because my nephew also has the Irlen Syndrome. And she called me up. And I was with a patient, so I didn't answer. And then like a minute later, she calls me again. She's sort of like you do that to me.
It's like, why are you ignoring me?
And I know if you've called me 3 times in a row, somebody's dead, right? I was like, Doesn't matter what you're doing, answer the phone. So when the third time she called, I thought, oh my God, my mom's dead.
Okay, don't even say that out loud.
That's what I thought.
Oh, okay.
And so I answered the phone and I'm like, what? And she said, you can't believe this woman you guys sent over here who has the Irlen Syndrome. When she put on the glasses, because that's the treatment for it, it's colored filtered lenses. When she put on the glasses, she saw the bookcase come out from the wall. She saw the doorknob come out from the door. She saw a guy that was overweight walk by and she blurts out, pot belly, because she had depth perception problems and every guy was sort of 2D and now this guy's 3D, and that's very rude to blurt out pot belly, but it's the first time she'd seen it. And so my sister was like all excited, and so we scanned her the next day, the woman, on the glasses that really helped her get better depth perception and treat the Irlen Syndrome. And we're like so excited because she had a very busy brain and her whole brain calmed down just wearing the glasses. It was really cool.
So I have one story about this.
Can I finish this one?
Oh, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
I'm not even close.
I am so sorry.
Well, thank you for apologizing. That actually warms my heart. So, no, you got to know. So like Paul Harvey used to say, the rest of the story.
Oh, yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
So here's the rest of the story. She's better. A week later, she's worse. She's depressed.
Oh.
The doctor goes, I have to tell you the rest of the story. When she's 12, she's actually a prodigy guitar player.
Oh.
She was amazing and was doing concerts and really saw herself going as a professional musician. But she could never learn to read music because whenever she tried to read music, the notes would dance on the page.
Right. It's almost like dyslexia.
And, well, very common with people who have dyslexia.
Right, okay.
They really have this thing we call scotopic sensitivity syndrome, light sensitivity syndrome, or the Irlen syndrome. And when she was 12, because she couldn't learn to read music, she took the guitar by its throat and broke it and never played again. So now she's 42. It's 30 years later. She's diagnosed with Irlen. Why does she get depressed?
Because she is thinking about what could have happened.
She's mourning the loss of what could have been in her life.
If only someone had realized.
And that is not a Prozac moment.
No.
That is not
a happy
you have
Hallmark
to,
card.
It's a psychotherapy moment
Right.
to work through the loss and then get to the place of gratitude that I don't have to have this anymore.
So I just want to...
But think of
know, it's terrible.
Important this is. And for her, we didn't come up with a brain injury, but the Irlen syndrome is very common after a brain injury.
That's what one of my questions was, can you obtain it post brain injury? It's not like you're always born with it.
Very common.
Okay, so that's one of the things.
I have NFL players, NHL players, soldiers, and some of my NHL players, actually, we tint their masks
so they can see better when
they can deal with the visual processing issues.
Especially because of the lights. So I was going to quickly mention a story about someone very close to me who, I don't want to talk about names, but this is really kind of a sad, kind of creepy story. She turned out to have almost like the far end of the spectrum of Irlen's, like almost
worst.
One of the worst cases of Irlen's. But the really sad part of this is that she actually ended up, because it was so bad, I don't want to go into details on it because it'll take too long. She ended up believing that people were after her, like almost like a conspiracy theory type thing, because she would see lights coming at her. And to this day, if she takes the glasses off for very long, she sees lights, like especially under fluorescent lights, she sees beams of lights. And so
almost like a psychotic process.
And yes, they diagnosed her as being like psychotic. So when she looks at a phone or anything like that, it's like, so she thought people were doing this to her. When she got the glasses, she almost had a breakdown because of realizing, oh my God, all of this has happened to me. And a big part of it is because of this visual processing problem.
Well, and that's why she had multiple accidents.
And right, you just gave it away. What is the matter with you?
So to learn more about the Irlen Syndrome, it is so common. Go to Irlen, IRLEN.com, and you can learn about the work of Helen Irlen. If you can relate, if you have headaches and you don't know why. In fact, that's why I began to believe in it. One of my friends who suffered from severe migraine headaches, when she put on the glasses, her headaches went away. And
it makes
she was
sense
not somebody I would have
But if you're having
thought
trouble
of.
with lights, that makes sense, especially fluorescent light.
So one of the more common causes of migraine headaches. Stay with us. Use the code podcast10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com or on our supplements at brainmdhealth.com. Thank you for listening to the Brain Warriors Way podcast. Go to iTunes and leave a review, and you'll automatically be entered into a drawing to get a free signed copy of the Brain Warriors Way and the Brain Warriors Way cookbook we give away every month.